guys, welcome back to my channel. My name is Katina. I am the creator of Live Life Learn. I created this channel for those who are interested in a debt-free journey. I am currently on a debt-free journey, and I just wanted to share my experience with everyone in case you're interested in getting on such a journey. You want to get out of debt, you're tired of your debt, you are over your debt. This is the place to be. So I typically make a video or drop a video every week, and it is a new week for me. It just hasn't been a week. It's been over a week, and it is a new topic. So I have been so busy. I've had some family issues to arise. That was, of course, unexpected. But I am here. So thank you so much for joining me. So I want to go ahead and talk about the new topic for this week, which is sinking fund accounts. So let's talk about sinking fund accounts. This was a new one for me. There's so many different ways to save your money and, different ways to accumulate a savings or whatever it is you're trying to do financially. But sinking funds caught my attention. Now, you might say to yourself, why do they call it sinking funds? That's kind of, I don't know. It may sound a little bit kind of negative, but actually it's not. So if you think about sinking funds, in essence, you're just sinking money into an account for a particular cause or thing. So in essence, and I have my notes. Yeah, I know I got my notes. I don't want to miss anything. So a sinking fund is really a personalized savings plan, and it's centered around a specific goal you want to achieve. So this actually, a sinking fund, FYI, should be separate from your savings account, and it also should be separate from your emergency account. So you might be asking yourself, hey girl, what's the difference between a sinking fund and a savings account? Well, the difference is that for savings, you want to be saving, basically for long-term investments. You want to have a savings account in which you could look at it from a long-term perspective. Look at the long road ahead for your savings account. So you want to think about savings in terms of, you can use it for like retirement and things like that, or perhaps you can use your savings account to save up money for a particular investment that you want to do, a financial investment. So that's pretty much the difference, in my opinion. The difference between a savings account and the sinking fund is that with savings, you want to just kind of focus on long-term goal savings. With a sinking fund, it's a personalized savings account that is centered around a specific goal or project that you personalized and created. So you might be then asking yourself too, hey girl, so what's the difference between a sinking fund and an emergency fund? Well, an emergency fund is just that. It's an emergency fund. An emergency fund it's an account established and set up for things that are like unexpected expenses. You have a financial emergency. Maybe you had some car repairs that you had to get unexpectedly. So an emergency fund comes in handy for that. You don't have to worry about tapping into your actual savings account. Neither do you have to worry about borrowing the money to get your car repaired, because you have a emergency fund that you can depend on. So of course, and I had a video prior to this about emergency funds, right? And the reason why you should have one. So you know what? Go check that out. Go check out emergency funds, why you need one, why you got to have one. It's very, very helpful. And also emergency funds are also good for if you have any medical issues that arise in which you might need to have some sort of a medical procedure done in which you need to pay up front. Dentist is a good example of that. So that's what an emergency fund is good for. It's good for those unexpected financial things that occur and you didn't know, of course, but you have the emergency fund to back that up with. So again, a sinking fund is different from all of those things. Now, the reason why I like the whole concept of a sinking fund is because to me it's exciting. All right. So this is just my little opinion. Sometimes the whole concept of savings can be boring. Okay. You hear savings and you're like, boring. I know I was like that before I got on my financial journey. You like saving money and you're like, okay, I'm just a saving. Okay. but you're kind of like saving for not a specific thing, if you will. You're just trying to save. I know in my case, just try to build up my money in my account, right? So I didn't have a designated, I guess, a designated philosophy, I guess, if you will, for my savings. But the whole concept of a sinking fund is exciting to me, right? So because it is a personalized savings plan, for a goal you want to achieve, you get to, make it your own. You get to personalize it yourself. So you might be asking yourself, what are examples of sinking funds? I know you're asking, right? Okay, here's some examples for you. All right. So vacation. If you want to take a nice vacation, you can create a sinking fund that. If you want to do some holiday shopping, here we are with holidays right here. Thanksgiving in a few days. Christmas is around the corner. You can create a sinking fund for holiday shopping, right? You also can create a sinking fund for home improvement projects around the house. My fave, self-care weekends. I thought about that one as I was doing my research. I thought that would be a cool sinking fund account creation. Also, down payment for a car. If you're interested in purchasing the car within within 3 to 6 months, you can create a sinking fund for that. Or either it's just so basic. It's something that you really want to get for yourself. You can create a sinking fund for that, and whatever that thing might be. So, I thought about like taking some yoga classes. That would be a great way to get your classes, to pay for your classes, is to start a sinking fund account. And again, it's whatever you want to do, whatever in terms of personal things that you want to do for yourself. A sinking fund comes in handy. It is designated for that specific thing. And that's why the whole concept of a sinking fund is really exciting to me, because it's like it is for this thing that I want to do. And for me, I am more likely to really focus in and, commit to getting the money and saving the money to go towards this particular thing that I want to get. So you might be asking, hey girl, you got a sinking fund? Yes, I do. I do. I actually decided that I was going to start 2 sinking fund accounts simultaneously, which is, I don't know why I did that, because it's not easy. But I have some things that I want to do, and I felt like a sinking fund will help me achieve these goals because it's personalized to that specific thing. So the 2 things that I created a sinking fund account for quickly was, I got to do something around my house. Okay, I got to get some things taken care of around here, and I think the cost of it is around $320. So I decided in order to get that project done, a sinking fund account would come in handy for that. And the other project that I decided to create a sinking fund account for is an item that I want from a company that makes these beautiful e-files for nail technicians, all right? And that item is, I think it's a little under $400. So I needed to create a sinking fund for both of those items because it's something that is personalized to me and it's something that I truly, really wanted. And you definitely don't want to conflate sinking funds with any other account that you may have at your bank. So you definitely want to separate it out, give it a name, so forth and so on. So that's what you want to do with the sinking fund account. Now, how do you start a sinking fund account, you ask? Well, first of all, to start a sinking account is very, very simple. You want to make sure you have a goal. You want to start with a goal, okay? That is extremely important. If you don't have a goal in mind for what you want to do, what you want to do personally for yourself, or, get done around your house, or whatever you create this sinking fund account for, it is not going to happen. It's not going to get done. So you want to be sure that you first start with a goal. Think about it. Like, okay, so I want to have a self-care weekend. I want to have a beautiful self-care weekend for myself. I deserve it. I'm worthy of it. So I want to go ahead and put some money to the side for that self-care weekend. Okay. So that would be the goal, for an example, right? And then what's the intent behind the goal? What is your intent, right? So you want to think about intentions, right? Okay. So your intention is, you know what? I really need to have this moment of a weekend of self-care because I've been overwhelmed. I've been stressed out. And so therefore having a self-care weekend is going to really benefit me, short term and perhaps possibly long term. So you want to think about the fact that the self-care weekend is very important to you. The intention of the self-care weekend is to give yourself what you need so desperately, right? Which is to take care of oneself. So you want to get that goal and you want to get your intention. You want to be intentional and deliberate about, funding this particular goal through a sinking fund. So the next step you want to do is think about what you're saving for. So in this case, the example I gave, or whatever your heart desires, right? What are you saving for? So in my example with the self-care weekend, you're saving for that specific event, and that's all you want to think about. You only want to think about what you are saving for, nothing else. Don't put anything else in the mix. Don't combine it with anything else. Just focus in on that one thing. You really do want to do that. That way, it'll drive you and motivate you to get that thing done. Yeah, my allergies, I'm sorry, are a mess. And then the next thing you want to focus on is the cost, right? So after you've discovered your goal, your intentions, and what you're saving for, you then want to move into how much this is going to cost me, right? So back to my example of a self-care weekend, you want to think about how much this is going to cost. So let's just say this self-care weekend costs about $400. It's going to cost you $400 to do a self-care weekend for yourself, which is pretty reasonable, honestly. You deserve more than that. But your baseline is $400, right? So you've established your cost. You did your research. You know what you want to get. You know what this self-care weekend includes. It could include a massage. It could include a nice dinner. It could include whatever you wanted to include, a facial, whatever you want, getting your hair done. It just really depends on you, right? It's all about you. That's the beautiful thing about it. That's the beautiful thing about creating a sinking fund account, because it's really about your personal needs. It's like, what is my personalized goal? How much I'm going to need for that? So once you establish the cost of that thing that you want to do, that goal that you have set, right? You then want to have a start date. This is so important. You want to make sure you have a financial start date and a financial end date. So you want to find out with yourself, okay, since I want this self-care weekend, when do I want to start? When do I want to start to get what do I want my self-care weekend to start, right? So you want to think about it. Okay, so I want to make sure I do a self-care weekend within 60 days, 2 months, right? So what you're going to do is you're going to have a start date and an end date for savings. That is so important. So if you know that, let's see, 60 days out from today, which will land us in the new year, I'm thinking sometime in February. If you just say, you know what, I'm going to get my self-care weekend completed in February, right? So you're giving yourself a start date of when you're going to save, okay, and you need to have an end date and when you're going to end your savings for this particular goal that you have in mind, right? So that's extremely important. Start dates and end dates is pivotal to your goals. If you don't have no start dates and no end dates, you will have trouble trying to complete your goal. Trust and believe. I've learned that over and over again, that if I don't have a start date for something and an end date, it ain't it. It ain't working. It's not going to do, right? It's not going to happen. It's just not, especially with me. And then you want to find out, after you have your start dates established, you got your goal in mind, you know what you want to do, you know how much it costs, you know everything about what you want to create this sinking fund for. Where will you stash your cash? That's the next question. Where am I going to put this money? So that's up to you. That's personal. You know what I'm saying? It's up to you. You can use the envelope system for self-care. You can use whatever you want. You put it in your bank, but make sure you don't mix it up with your savings or your checking. You might need to create a separate account just for sinking funds, right? And that's perfectly fine. You might want to go through like an Ally Bank or online banking to create a sinking fund account with, because you have less chances of taking that money out because it's online banking. So I know that Ally Bank and Capital One 360 are good entities to use to save money online. So those are a couple of banks that you might want to consider if you feel like I don't have enough willpower to stay away from my money. I know if I put it in the bank, I'm going to be at the bank, or if I know if I keep it in my house, it's over. It ain't happening. I'm going to be all up in my money. And then therefore you won't have a sinking fund account, and there goes your goal, right? So you just kind of want to think about where you're going to save your money. So after you establish all of that, right, you figured out how to start it, you know what you need to do, you got your plan of action going here, you wrote it down, you figured out how long it's going to take for you to get this money up, you know what you want to do. You then want to think about saving tips and when to start, right? So we talked about, an example of a self-care weekend, but I also want to give an example of a vacation as well. So again, please find out how much it's going to cost you to achieve this goal of yours, right? So let's just say, you're going on a vacation or whatever it is you want to do. You want to be sure that you are ready, right? Mentally, get ready mentally to create this sinking fund. Now, what I decided to do for my own personal sinking fund ideas, which is my house and getting something done around the home and buying this e-file, is I wanted to save 10 to 20% over that cost. So if you have the ability to save a little bit extra over the cost of what that goal is you want to achieve, please do so. I think it's good to do it because you want a little bit of cushion because, prices change, things change. So you want to be able to compensate for that change. So hopefully the change is that the cost reduced versus it going up, and then you have a little bit more extra money in your pocket. But you want to make sure that you have a little cushion available. So you want to save at least, if you can do it. Now, it's okay if you can't. It's all good. You want to try to go ahead and save like 10 to 20% extra for the purpose of having a cushion. So if you didn't consider taxes when you were thinking about your goal, right, you have that available to you. You don't have to worry about, oh my gosh, I only saved $400, so I need to have more than that. So an example of how, you quite do the savings, that's something I had to think about when I went on ahead and created my sinking funds account, is you want to go ahead and think about, how am I going to get this together? I know how much it's costing me. Now, how am I going to arrive at this figure? How am I going to break the savings down, right? That's it. So let's just say, for an example, your goal is to save $400, okay? For your self-care weekend or for a little mini vacation. And you're like, girl, what kind of vacation can I take for $400? I don't know. It could be a staycation where you spend a weekend at a hotel. That's cool too, right? So what you want to do is take the example I'm giving, the $400 example, right? And you're giving yourself 60 days to get this money together. So what you want to do is what I would recommend, and which is what I'm doing for mine sinking fund account, is that I'm taking, I decided to give myself 60 days to get my money together. But in this case, you want to take the $400, which is the cost of your goal for yourself, right? And you want to divide that by 4 paychecks, right? So you're trying to get this money together within 60 days or whatever your time frame is. I'm just throwing 60 days out there because it's just an example. It's all good. But you want to, divide the $400 by 4 pay periods, right? And so what that is $100 you would save per paycheck, okay? And in this example, that's how you're going to acquire your $400 for your sinking fund, right? That's what you're going to be putting into your sinking fund. So every paycheck you get, the next 4 for 60 days, if you get paid, this is all based on bi-weekly, y'all, okay? It's not a weekly thing. I'm thinking about my own pay. But if you get paid bi-weekly, right, you'll be taking $100 out of each check, and that is equal to 4 paychecks to get your money together, your goal money of $400. That's exactly how much you're going to need to start for your goal, for your whatever you're planning to do for yourself, right? For your sinking fund account. So that's how much is going to go into your sinking fund. Again, you're going to divide that $400 up by 4 pay periods. And every time you get paid, if you're a bi-weekly person, get paid bi-weekly, you would just simply be putting $100 into your sinking fund account every paycheck, 4 paychecks, and boom, voila, there you go. You have your money for your whatever it is you want to do. Whatever it is you're planning for yourself, your sinking fund, or, it's for your sinking fund, but whatever it is that you want to do. So it could be, like I said, self-care weekend, holiday shopping. You're like, damn, I ain't got no money for holiday shopping. Well, you have a little bit of time left to create a little sinking fund and put that money into a sinking fund so that you can indeed do stress-free holiday shopping, because that money is already designated through your sinking fund. You have a goal for it, and you know how much it's going to cost to do the shopping or the self-care weekend or whatever it is that you want to do. Okay. So for final thoughts regarding the sinking fund, a sinking fund is a great way to pre-plan for personal goals, for personal saving goals. Yeah, my allergies got me tripping, but it is a great way to plan for personal saving goals. Okay. And it's your choice, your goal. You're in control of this whole thing. That's the beauty about sinking funds, is that you're in control of it. It's up to you on what you want to do, how much you need to save, what your plans are. It's in your hands. So it's truly up to you, right? Yes. And then lastly, motivation and commitment is your fuel. Okay. Let that be your fuel to your plan. And you want and enjoy whatever it is that you decide to save for, right? So be motivated, be committed, allow that to drive you, right? And you want to enjoy whatever it is you decide to save for. And again, that's the beauty in having the sinking funds, because the whole concept of just knowing that this fund has been created for this thing is a motivator all in itself, isn't it not? Yes, it is. So I'm excited about the sinking funds that I got going. I'm very proud of myself. I'm halfway there on both of them, right? I should be finished actually having both of my sinking funds fully funded for both of these goals of mine by the end of the month. So I am really, really excited about it. Okay, guys, so we're going to move on to our weekly word motivator. No, I did not forget. I just love this little weekly word motivator shigamadig that came up with. So the weekly word motivator for this week is peace. Yes, peace is the weekly word motivator. And in Spanish, it's serenidad. Serenidad is peace in Spanish. So I decided to use peace as the weekly word motivator because we all need peace. The holidays is upon us, and this is a stressful time for so many people. Whether you celebrate the holidays or not, stress it just comes no matter what. So it doesn't have a designated time when it arrives in your life. Stress is stress. So I wanted to talk about the whole concept of embracing peace in stressful moments. So as I had mentioned in the video earlier, with the start of the video, is that, I'm late with this video because we've had some traumatic incidents to occur with family, and it just really was so difficult to process and just unsettling to the spirit, and just unsettling for everybody, and just trying to figure out how to cope with the stress of this event is very difficult. And it weighs heavily on your heart when you're stressed out. It affects you both mentally and physically when you're stressed out. I noticed some changes in myself and how I was moving and how I was functioning, as well as with my husband and things like that. And kids are a little different. Hold on, I dropped something. Kids are a little different on how they deal with things, but we are paying attention to the kids and how they're coping and dealing. But, you want to access peace. I feel like peace is available to everyone, and it is accessible to everyone if you want to access it. It's right there. Sometimes we can, and I'm guilty of this, allowing things to overcome you and overtake you, that peace is just bumped completely out of the way, and stress just takes over. It just seems like everything in your mindset, and it becomes problematic. So what I am learning is to find peace wherever I can get it. Okay. And so as a result of what has transpired, I'm just really learning, how to embark upon peace in the midst of trials and tribulations and pain and heartache. I believe that there can be peace in the middle of, some traumatic events. You can find peace available to you. And so, what I decided to do to access peace is to meditate, okay? To do a 10-minute meditation in the morning, followed by prayer, and then followed by yoga. That has helped me a whole lot to obtain some peace in my life and in my mind space, more importantly, because really peace is in the mind, right? So that's why it's a mindset. Everything just starts in the mind, it seems like, with your thinking, your mindset. And so for me, I'd say, girl, you have got to figure out a way to locate peace immediately. You got to get it. You got to find it, because I didn't want the stress, right? I didn't want the sorrow. I didn't want that to be so heavy on my heart and on my mind, because I knew it would have a greater effect on me if I just continue to just kind of stay in that space. And if I did not find peace right away. And so doing those three things, the meditation, prayer, and yoga, as well as, in addition to, one more thing that's vital is listening to Buddhist teachings, has really helped me a lot. My gosh, I really appreciate the teachings, the Buddhist teachings. It's been just so enlightening and really a blessing, because it's just been so helpful in my understanding of things here lately. But you want to find peace. You want to obtain peace. It's a necessary attribute to have, right? It's so extremely important because there's so many things that's happening around us in the world, in our personal lives, on our jobs, in our homes, that peace is a necessity. Oh my gosh, it is such a necessity. So you can find it in various ways. I just have been so fortunate, and I'm so thankful that I have been able to find peace through these avenues, through these outlets, also just nature in itself is peaceful, right? I have been able to obtain peace through the beauty of nature. And y'all already know, I don't like being cold, okay? And I ain't into fall, really. But I have been able to find a sense of peace even in the midst of this autumn season, right? And I appreciate the peace that nature provides. It's all for free, okay? This is all free, right? It's God-given freeness of peace. And so there's different ways to obtain peace. You just have to be willing to allow peace to stop by and sit with you for a while, right? And it can sit with you for a long while. You just have to, open space for peace. Open the door of your heart for peace. Open the door of your mind for peace. It is right there at your doorstep, and it wants to come in. You just have to allow it to come in, find it, right? It's not hard to find. I found it in different various ways. It's just not one way that you can obtain peace. You can obtain peace in various ways, right? Different avenues, different outlets that are safe for you, right? It's not harmful avenues. They're very safe. And you get an opportunity to learn that peace comes in many ways, many forms that we are blessed to experience peace in. And I just found these ways that I wanted to share with you guys on how I obtained it, right? And how I'm still trying to obtain it. I'm trying to hold on to it. If I do these things, I found for myself, if I do these things that I mentioned, the meditation, prayer, yoga, listening to the Buddhist teachings and things like that, nature, I have been able to have access to peace, which is what I need. And it's been so fulfilling for me to walk in this way. I'm excited about it. Not to say I don't get ruffled, because I do. I have a very short temper and I can pop any minute. But I've been just willing and open to receiving peace however it comes, right? And it has just been coming in ways that I never thought. And so, but because of what has happened and transpired, I just decided that peace was something that I must have. It was needed. I want it. I welcome it. I embrace it. I love it. And so I decided that I was going to allow myself peace, right? So again, thank you guys so much for joining me on this Turban Thursday. I feel like doing my hair. So I call it Turban Thursday. But thank you so much for joining me, chatting with you, I should say. Y'all listening to me, who's ever listening about sinking funds. I hope you're encouraged to start a sinking fund, to, start this process, to think of a goal for yourself for saving for a specific personalized item. I think it's amazing. I think it's great. So again, thank you so much for joining me. And you guys have an amazing holiday. Have fun eating or whatever you're going to do, chilling, whatever it is, working, whatever you're going to do. You just make sure you have fun doing it. And until next time, hopefully my allergies will be a whole lot better, girl, because I cannot talk, right? So until next time, you guys have an amazing, peaceful day. Bye-bye.